All right, let me put on. Actually, no, I think we're good. All right, everyone watching, thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the second episode of the Scream Things podcast, All Things Horror. We got quite a few feedback on the last one, and I'm glad a lot of you guys actually enjoyed it. Did a little bit better than what I was expecting, and I hope this episode is going to be just as good, maybe even better. And we are here today with Davey Deathray. If you want, you can introduce yourself if you want for everyone to know who you are.
Yeah, I have been doing YouTube. My name's Davey. I've been doing YouTube for close to 2 years now. I cover a lot of, horror movie kind of stuff, but I'm just a huge film fan in general, big music guy as well. So love going live, been getting back into like the pre-recorded game and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, usually I just go live, talk about what's on my mind, cover some movie news and all that kind of fun stuff. So tons of watch parties. I host trivia stuff for my members, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, just a big old nerd.
Yeah, so if you guys want, you can check out his stuff. Really good stuff. I would recommend checking it out. And now we are here talking about the newest installment in the 28 Days Later franchise, 28 years later. Now, the first topic I think we could just start off with is the trailer itself. So, what are your personal thoughts on the trailer?
So I'm kind of excited for this one. I really like, George Romero, I would say, is like arguably my favorite director of all time. Like it's so tough to pick between him and Carpenter for me. So I'm a huge
Yeah.
original Night of the Living Dead fan, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. I really love Land of the Dead. I actually quite like Diary of the Dead as well. The only one I didn't really enjoy was his final film, Survival of the Dead. But I love
Oh,
that
yeah.
each one of those movies kind of, other than Night of the Living Dead and Diary, they sort of, you're jumping in the like midstream in the middle of the event. So I like the way that this one, taking 28 years, taking place 28 years after the original film. I like that it has that it has that world built, so we're going to be jumping in and seeing what life is like this far removed, from that outbreak. So I know they're technically not zombies here. I just think of them as fast zombies. So yeah, I think the trailer, from everything we're seeing, I'm really intrigued to see, what the fortress town looks like a little more intimately, and then of course, the adventure that we're following our main characters on.
Yeah. I think I like that idea too. I'm glad with the route they're taking. Like some part of it is a land for like safe. It's basically a safe zone, and then there's the other
Mhm.
land, which is just where the rage virus is and where it's infecting all the people. And then we have Aaron Taylor Johnson teaming up, coming
Mm.
out, trying to just visit the island, see what's happening over there. I think it's interesting. I like how different it is from the other films because that one was weeks and days were like the beginning. This one
Mhm.
takes place a while after it, over 10,000 days, which is crazy.
That's what they should have called it. 10,000 days later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not wrong. I think it's like 10,228 days, if I'm correct.
Mm.
Yeah, and personally, I'm glad Danny Boyle's back to do this one. I think he's going to
Yeah.
do a terrific job. Because 28 Days Later always been my favorite zombie film. It's very different from all the zombie films that came out previously, like Train to Busan or Day of the Dead. It's so different
Mhm.
because it's not necessarily zombies, it's a virus. And the zombies in 28 days, weeks, and years, they're absolutely terrifying. And those movies are genuinely terrifying. Specifically, the first one,
Mm.
Weeks. I thought it was good. Not really the biggest fan of Weeks as most people are, but I still thought it was good.
Yeah, I think when I first saw the first movie, I mean, I think I was like 21 the year that came out. With '03, is that when the first one came out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like '02 or '03, and then Weeks
Okay.
came out in '07. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, especially like the first one was like shot on like, like digital. It had that that kind of crunchy, grainy sort of look. And I really enjoyed it. The first time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. As I watched it more and more, I found myself like not as in love with it as I was the first time. But sometimes that just happens with me. But I am pumped that Danny Boyle's coming back. I mean, he's grown a lot as a filmmaker. All the stuff I've been seeing like behind the scenes with them, I mean, they're shooting. Is the whole thing shot on iPhones? Is that what they're doing?
I'm pretty sure because the iPhones are like really like a lot better than what they were back in the day, and the quality on them is like honestly crazy. I can
Yeah.
understand why they're shooting all of it on an iPhone. Like it's actually crazy how
I've
they
seen some of the
evolved.
some of the rigs. Some of the rigs have like 30 phones or whatever. They
Yeah,
like
I know.
they've done all this really. I don't know. I'm just so curious to see. I love when filmmakers kind of push technology, even though like every James Cameron movie isn't necessarily like my favorite movie. I love that, he's always been a filmmaker that's, you know, basically just tried to stretch what we can do with the technology and try to push the technology forward. So it looks like this movie, I feel like in the trailer, they're probably not like showing their hand. I would imagine we're going to see some pretty cool shit here in the
Yeah,
film that they're sort of holding back just to kind of wow us with what they're doing with some of those iPhone rigs.
yeah. Like some of the people infected in the movie, they look like monsters, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like the like amount of people that have evolved in the rage virus is crazy. Like at first they weren't necessarily that strong, but now because it's been like 28 years, they've evolved a lot over time.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
now it's infected like some of the strongest people on earth. So imagine having to go up against that. Like going up against the strongest bodybuilder in the world that's infected by the rage virus.
Yeah, and I wonder if something's gonna, if the virus has like evolved or changed somehow. Because I think at the end of the 28 days later, aren't the aren't the infected just like kind of dying off from not getting food supply? Aren't they just sort of like dwindling away? So I'm
Yeah,
curious to know how they, especially with them looking more monstrous, like maybe the virus has changed,
yeah,
over time.
definitely. Because it's been like weeks was only like a year or so after. No, like no 2 years after days, and now it's been over 28 years since no 26 years since weeks. So it's
Hmm.
definitely evolved a lot because a lot can happen in 26 years.
Hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean,
like
it should look pretty wild, I would imagine.
yeah, like look
Um,
what's happened in like our world. Like technology is crazy.
yeah, and viruses, like every virus changes and adapts. They're living things. So I would imagine that's going to be something that is going to explain some of the more like monstrous looking infected here, because for the most part they're pretty consistent in the other two films as far as like the way they look and the way they behave. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping to see, yeah, something that's um, changed. I want I want to see the virus, yeah, having just evolved in some sort of way that presents an even bigger danger than before. Even if you don't get overwhelmed with the amount of infected, that they would just be more dangerous, even one on one.
yeah, like now they're based off of the second trailer. There's even like cults happening for the virus and stuff. Like people that support the
Oh, okay.
virus that are just regular human beings.
Oh shoot, I haven't even. I will watch like a first trailer for movies, and then I try to avoid, like, once I'm interested, I just try to back off, because I find like there's been some movies that have come out within the last couple years where I'm interested, and then I watch like that follow-up trailer, like the second, main trailer, and that either shows too much, or it just sort of deflates my excitement, and then God forbid trailers raise your expectations so high that when you go in to see the movie can't even live up to like the hype. So I try not to
Oh,
overhype myself too much. So yeah, I haven't
yeah,
even watched the second trailer. I'm kind of going it like, I used to be like, I was pretty lukewarm on Aaron Taylor Johnson. Like I enjoyed his performance in like the Kick-Ass movies. Didn't really enjoy his Quicksilver or his performance in Gareth Edwards' what was it, 2014, the Godzilla movie that he was in.
Yeah, it
But
was either 2014 or 16. Yeah.
something like that, yeah. And I loved him though in Nosferatu. He was my favorite. That was my favorite performance in Nosferatu, and so he totally won me over. So I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready for this one, and I think this movie could be, yeah, really exciting and really just again fun to see Danny Boyle with everything he's done come back to something. I love seeing directors come back to horror, even if they take a break. Like
Yeah.
I want Peter Jackson to come back and do like a honest to goodness like horror film, you know, because that's where he cut his teeth. So really cool to see Danny back. And yeah, so there's a cult of, so I'm learning right now. So there is like a group of people that are, what are they, like worshiping like the
Yeah.
rage people, or
Yeah,
is it
like
that
at
kind of
the
thing?
end of the trailer, there's this guy in a church, and then he like says "Day of Judgment," and a whole bunch of
Mm,
the rage people like bust through a window, and then they start going crazy. I'm not
okay.
sure what happens there, but all I know is that they're just going crazy, and I'm not sure if this man gets infected. Like,
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe they're working for him now. That
Or
that
yeah, I
could be
mean
a possibility.
it seems like that's sort of something that they work into these like zombie movies and zombie type movies as well, is that it's sort of like you can play that religious angle of like, hey, this is something that we've kind of brought on ourselves. Like this is, you know, meant to be, it's been passed down from the creator like that. I mean, that's in George Romero's Day of the Dead. John says that he's like, we're being punished by the creator. He's visited a curse upon us. And so, okay, I can see that. I'm interested in seeing how they play that. I would imagine this guy's got to be screwed if the infected is busting into the church, but maybe he's just got that faith that like, well, if this is my time, this is my time. So there's sort of like, this is something that we deserve, like a cleansing, so to
Yeah.
speak, of humanity, you know, kind of like a, not a purge in the sense of the Purge movies, just a literal purge of humanity from planet Earth.
Yeah, like
Okay.
maybe that's his religion.
Yeah, or
Wave
that's just the way
virus as
he
a
looks at
religion.
his, that's like the way that certain groups of like very religious people have all sort of started feeling that way, that it's it literally is like a judgment day, you know, like something like a bit, you know, something of biblical proportions kind of stuff.
Yeah. The, I'm really excited for this movie, and I don't care what people say. I'm gonna continue to be excited for this movie. I have a lot of hope in this one. Like there's some other films I've seen where I had a lot of hype towards it because it seemed amazing, and it just ended up
Hmm.
being like the worst movie ever. I can like The Flash from 2023. So many high hopes for Michael Keaton back as Batman, and then he
Hmm.
just had no screen time. Like, what was that?
Hmm.
And it
Yeah,
was
I mean, and
terrible.
I kind of heard, I kind of had the opposite effect with Flash. I had heard so many bad things about it, and when I went and saw it in the theater, I was like, oh, I actually like, I enjoyed the like Back to the Future kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
Um, and like, even though, yeah, Keaton wasn't, you know, I mean, it is called The Flash, so even though Keaton wasn't in it a whole bunch, like, yeah, I did enjoy. I mean, I love seeing him back. So yeah, I think like I've heard. I mean, it seems like people are pretty excited about this one, and rightly so. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's tough to. Yeah, I had really high expectations for like Bring Her Back that just came out this past weekend, and I enjoyed it, but it didn't knock
yeah,
my socks off or anything. Like I wanted to love it more than I ended up loving it, and that's definitely something that can happen as a film fan. You see something and you get really excited. I know a lot of, like, I loved Long Legs, but I know a lot of people, the overhype got to them with stuff like Long Legs, and um you know, like it just seems like that kind of happens like every year. We've got a handful of those movies that we get a little too excited for, and
yeah,
it's really difficult for that to live up to the expectations. But I think with what we've got here, we definitely have a different looking movie, and the original creator coming back. I think this could be I don't know. I'm always hopeful that the newest one is going to be the best one of the bunch.
Yeah.
I think the newest Final Destination movie,
Oh,
while it may not be like, I don't know if it's the best one in the series, it
I
certainly
think it
is
is.
one of the better
Yeah.
ones easily. So yeah, I'm always hopeful, and I always try to reserve a little bit of that. Yeah, it's so tough to not let excitement get the better of you, but I always try to do my best to just say, all right, Davey, just go in and judge it for what it is. Don't judge it based on what you thought it was going to be and all that stuff. Just enjoy it, take it in, soak it up, think about it, and see how you feel, because I think sometimes we get feelings from movies. Like, a movie can just make you feel a certain way, and then there's
Yeah.
also like the analytical side of looking at the cinematography, looking at the lighting, paying attention to just the more like subtle aspects of filmmaking. So yeah, I mean, I think this one could be pretty damn good.
Yeah, I have a feeling it will be. Like, out of all the movies I've seen coming out this year, I might actually have the most high expectations for this one because of how great the first one was.
Hmm.
Same can also be said for FNAF. As a FNAF fan myself, I absolutely adored the first film. And since Emma Tammy's coming back for the second one, I have some high hopes for
Hmm.
that one. Fear Street, I was excited for that one. Didn't really hit the box for me on that
Yeah.
one. Very disconnected from the other films, and that kind of lowered it down for me.
I heard that
Yeah,
one was pretty rough. I haven't even checked that one out. I heard it was just, yeah, kind of a letdown.
yeah.
Kind
If
of
you're
run
a
of the
fan of
mill.
like R.L. Stein's books, then you might
Hmm.
actually enjoy this one because it's more based off of the books than it is
Gotcha.
like continuing the actual trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then that stuff, like, I think I missed a lot of the R.L. Stein stuff. I remember those Goosebumps books coming out when I was younger, but I think I was just a little bit too old by the time they were like really popping off.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things that can happen. I enjoyed the Five Nights at Freddy's as well, and I've never played the game or anything like that. Before I went and saw the movie, I watched a kind of just a roundup of the series just to get an idea of what it was all about, and I rather enjoyed it. I tried to put myself in that space of like, if I were a kid, or if I were somebody that grew up with these games, what would I think of this movie? And that was definitely a movie that I thought was like, if you're in that preteen kind of age, especially for Five Nights, that was like the slumber party movie of the year, for that group of kids. Like, you rent that, you get some pizza, have some buddies over,
yeah,
and just watch that over and over. That's kind of the vibe I got from that one. So yeah, as somebody that didn't really know anything about it, I enjoyed that one as well. But yeah, I think this one, I don't know what other horror movies we have coming out. There's Weapons is coming out later on this year or this summer. Um, I don't know if there are any. Are there any other like really big ones?
uh,
Is the next Five Nights coming out this winter?
yeah. December 5th, and then we also have I Know What You Did Last Summer, July 18th.
Yep.
Him
Okay.
in August, I think. No, September.
Okay. That
Yeah,
looks fun.
yeah. Jordan Peele's in that one. I think he's the producer for it. It
Yeah.
looks really good, even though we
Yeah.
only have a teaser for it. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. I'm a big
Like,
sports fan, so it looks like The Substance meets, college football kind of
yeah,
vibe, So I'm super intrigued with like that premise. But yeah, I mean, I think this one has the potential to just be huge and make a ton of money 28 years later. I think that this one could make a buttload, especially if that first weekend goes well and people have
yeah,
got good things to say about. Like, I think that's really like where the money is made for these movies, is like, sure, you want your first weekend to be awesome, but really it's like, how high up can you stay in the box office like after that first weekend, once everyone is like getting the word out. I think that'll say a lot about this one. And this one is coming out June 20th, right? So there's
yeah,
some time between this and I think the next biggest one that's coming out, or just bigger movie, would be what, Superman would be the next really big one after this. So there's a few weeks there for
Yeah.
28 years later to have like its time in the box office.
Yeah, there's not much happening in June. There's really 28 years, and then there's Megan. I think Megan will do
Oh
good
yeah.
considering it's
Hmm.
like bringing back nostalgia a little bit for all the 80s
Sure.
fans of Judgment Day, because it's very
Yeah.
similar to that one.
It
New
seems
trailer.
exactly like, yeah, exactly like
Yeah.
Judgment Day, pretty much. And then Megan, man, I've seen the trailer for that so much. I've been going to a lot of movies lately. I've seen that trailer so much. I'm like, I'm starting to like not care. Just because like at this point, okay, the jokes are just, I've seen them so many times. But I do like that they're trying something different with the sequel of Megan, that it's not just a rehash. So I always appreciate that when filmmakers, if you're going to do a sequel, to try to stretch things and just show that you've grown, you know. So hopefully we get that there with Megan 2.0.
Yeah, they're really, Blumhouse is really changing up their movies this year. Like Megan is
Yeah.
going Judgment Day, action comedy, not really
Hmm.
a horror movie. And then we have The
Mm.
Black Phone, which is going from like slasher all the way to supernatural, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And it's winter as well. I'm actually really excited for that one too.
And you know what? I haven't seen that new trailer yet. I'm actually on my channel here in a couple hours. I'm going to be covering some news stuff on the channel. I'm going to react to that trailer live on that news stream because I haven't seen that one yet. But
It's
I did.
crazy.
Yeah, I liked the first Black Phone. And the first Black Phone, there are those little hints of the supernatural quality, of course. I mean, whenever you're talking to people that are, you know, on the other side or whatever, you know, there's something supernatural going there, but it's really not tied to the killer per se. So I'm interested to see what they do with the supernatural aspect there with that sequel.
Yeah. I feel like it's because he died in that basement. Like, if you really think about it, the only reason the kids are picking up the phone is because they died in its basement, like right where
Yeah.
the phone is. So maybe
Hmm.
that's like the trigger point for it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, it'll be
maybe
cool.
like a demon saw him compared to like Terrifier. Like little pale girl saw art, gave him
Mm.
powers, boom. So maybe a demon sees the grabber, gives him powers, boom. Because now he's like, I'm actually not going to say, but you will see what happens.
Okay, I
Yeah,
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I would just imagine that. Yeah, now he's supernatural because he's a part of that. So it's sort of like it's like the Obi-Wan line from the first Star Wars movie. Like, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly
yeah,
imagine. Like, he's more powerful now that he
a
was killed in the real
100%.
world. So yeah, looking forward to checking that one out and curious to see yeah, what they do. And good for Blumhouse to be able to and maybe listening to some of the criticism they get. I mean, every studio gets criticism. It's like that's just the risk you run when you have a style. You know, like people love A24, and then there's the other people that hate A24, or you start noticing certain things like, oh wow, every A24 movie has like this. It's really really good, but then it has this ambiguous sort of ending, or you know what I mean? Like they're all like
Yeah,
think pieces and stuff like that. So hopefully that's good that Blumhouse is, you know, paying a little bit of attention. And I know a lot of people critique them for making very good trailers and not very good movies. So
yeah,
hopefully
and
they
that's
deliver
the
on that one.
sad thing. Yeah,
Well, and
like,
it's a whole different art. Putting together a trailer is a totally different thing than putting together a movie. I mean, I just watched that Karate Kid movie, and to
ooh,
me, it looks like it was edited by people that cut together trailers because the scenes in that movie, some of them are like 20 seconds long, like entire scenes that are only
yeah,
20 seconds. So it's like, so yeah, there's that kind of risk that you run as well whenever you're getting into editing. But yeah, I mean, I think with 28 years later, um, yeah, I mean, there's an amazing opportunity here. You know, zombie movies are not really the rage that they were, pun intended.
yeah,
You know, when the original 28 Days Later came out, that was sort of like the resurgence of the zombie boom, you know?
yeah,
And yeah, maybe this one can show us some different kind of colors. And
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I'm definitely gonna trust Sony and Danny Boyle on this one,
Hmm.
especially with how on point Sony has been with their horror movies lately. It's honestly astonishing. Hard Eyes was great in my opinion. Thanksgiving was also really good. And now we have
Mm.
28 years later, which I think is also going to be really good. I'm giving it like based off of the trailers, maybe like 9, 8 out of 10. It's
Oh,
so
geez.
different and unique, and that's what I love about it compared to like
Hmm.
28 days and weeks, because those were like the beginning of the apocalypse, the beginning of the rage virus. So it was just like
Yeah.
still evolving itself, and now it's fully evolved after
Hmm.
10,000 days.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is a little bit of that kind of other movie, I Am Legend had a little bit of that, the lived in world. Even and I know it's different because they're like it's like a creature feature, but like the Quiet Place movies, like where you sort of see that post-apocalyptic, you know, Mad Max kind of, like the world
Yeah.
is just in shambles kind of thing. So yeah, I think that'll be a really I'm again haven't seen the second trailer, so I'm really curious to know like why they're leaving the safe zone, like what's going on that would make them are they trying to connect with other people? Is there something going on within the safe zone where they need to find another place? Or I'm very curious to see like what the crux of the plot is. I'm a big story guy, so I want that to make sense, and then hopefully we get like some good, character work. Again, Aaron Taylor Johnson really, really impressed me with Nosferatu,
Oh, definitely.
and I want to see, I expect some big things from his performance here for sure.
Yeah, and I'm also really happy that this one definitely seems to be genuinely scary, especially for
Mm-hmm.
like modern day horror films. They're not really as scary as they were back in the day. Like when 28 Days Later came out, that was just like it was unique for what it was, and now we have 28 years coming out. It's still
Mm-hmm.
unique, and I'm glad they're taking like the really really scary route of this one. Like you see the kid like shooting the bow at like this big monstrous being. It doesn't even seem like it's infected by the rage virus.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting like more and more excited if there's going to be like kind of creatures here. If it's going to
Yeah.
sort of lean into a little bit of a almost like some of the Resident Evil games. And I'm just looking at some of the pictures too. The color is stunning. The green of the grass and everything. Them running through the woods, I'm getting like kind of Predator vibes even
Oh,
from that.
definitely.
There's,
Yeah.
it looks like this one's got is going to stand out and stand on its own two legs as something, wholly unique from, what we've seen previously.
Yeah. From this one scene in the trailer, like the second trailer, he this big being. Well, actually, no, it was in the first trailer. He seems like he's some giant gorilla or something like that. And I could actually
Oh,
see that
okay.
happening, considering in like the first 5 minutes of the first film, there were monkeys that were infected with the
Hmm.
virus. So
Yeah, it jumped from
now it's just like what can be infected. Like we could have crocodiles be infected, bulls getting run
yeah.
over by a bull that's infected by the virus. Oof.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, if the virus can jump from a monkey to a human, then you imagine it could go back the other way. And yeah, I guess we'll just see how sophisticated the virus has gotten, in the 28 years.
Yeah. And I'm surprised they're even like holding up this village together, especially with everything that's happened.
Hmm.
I'm kind of surprised. I have a feeling that a lot of the cities in this one are going to be destroyed because if you
Yeah.
compare it to like the first two films, those were like taking places in the city, specifically the first one, and now the 28 years it seems like it's just taking place in little mini towns, which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of like fortresses. I mean, that's the way, you wouldn't be able to have a big city in this kind of, you know, dealing with what they're dealing here. So it would have to be, seriously, like almost like castle towns,
Yeah,
to and remote. You couldn't even be like near. You wouldn't want to be near a place like London. You would want to be like what they're showing here, kind of, in the middle of the country, like near a forest. And I can't remember. Is the little fortress town? Is it actually on an island, or is it just sort of like
yeah.
barely connected? Okay, so it is an
I'm pretty
island.
sure it is because there's like a bridge, like a very long bridge that'll like lead to the island. So like what if
Okay,
the infected people like get onto the island and start infiltrating the entire base and trying to like kill everyone, infect everyone, destroy everything on that island, what they've been working on
yeah.
for the past 10,000 days. Oof.
Yeah, and you would imagine that I guess I would be sort of let down if at least some part of the movie, especially like the third act, didn't in some way put those people in the fortress town, at risk. You'd need to raise the stakes by um somehow having them be found out and having to withstand like a siege of the infected, do something to to be able to just protect everyone and keep everyone safe.
Yeah,
I would
because
imagine.
it seems like from the trailers, not a lot of stuff is going to happen necessarily. Like, of course, they're going onto the island, but I hope they like go all crazy and then they start like breaking into the base. And
Hmm.
if you see in the trailers, there's like a whole bunch of military guards that are like walking out on the island. Maybe they're trying to like kill all the remaining infected so then they can stop the virus, even though it's probably never going to stop. I wonder
Yeah.
where the virus is going to lead to after like 20. Oh wait, no, never mind. They are I was on Letterbox the other day and then I saw that they are doing a part 2 to 28 years later. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I have
All
a
right.
feeling there is going to be like a cliffhanger. It said like 2027 or 26.
Okay. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that would be the way to do it. Yeah, do some sort of cliffhanger and be able to follow it up.
Yeah, because there's so much stuff you can do with zombie movies. Like Train to Busan, we had a sequel to that one. I like how similar they are, years or no, 28 whatever later, and the Train to Busan. They're kind of similar considering all the zombies are like really really fast.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really like Train to Busan quite a bit.
yeah, I thought it was good. Not necessarily the best. I'm still gonna say 28 Days Later has always been my favorite zombie movie. It's not necessarily a zombie movie, but it definitely deserves that title with how absolutely outrageous these people are once they get infected.
Yeah, I think it's close.
Yeah,
Like to me, it's just like for all intents and purposes, they are zombies. I think that Danny Boyle just wanted to create um, his own kind of like rules, and not have to live by the Romero rules. Because there are so many different ways you can get infected by these zombies. It's not just the bites that can get you infected. It's ingesting any of the blood or bodily fluids. So I think that was probably a big reason why he just wanted to like have it be his own thing, so that way he can set
yeah,
up his own rules. But yeah, I mean, like if you watch 28 Days Later and compare it to like Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead or, and Train to Busan, any of these, modern movies that have, fast moving zombies, I think this franchise fits right in with those. So it's just like semantics that, yeah, technically they're infected with the rage virus, but there's no like bringing them back, as far as I know,
yeah.
right? No like blood transfusion that can bring them back. So they're pretty much the living dead. They're just much more agile.
Yeah, because really, like after the virus took over London and took over the US, Canada, everywhere else, they can't really figure out to make a cure for it because they're everywhere. Like for
Yeah,
zombies and stuff, you can make cures for it because they're not necessarily as dangerous as the rage virus, depending on which movie of zombies you're talking about. Like,
yeah,
if you're saying like The Walking Dead, you can definitely try to make a cure for it, but it's been going on for so long that you can't really make a cure for that reason.
Hmm.
28 days, weeks, and years. It's not even about like the time period. It's because of how fast they took over the world.
Yeah, and they're just so overwhelming. Like it's I think in the slow moving zombie movies, it's the fact that there's so many of them that at some point they're just going to get to you. Whereas here in this franchise, I mean, running into one can be very, very dangerous.
Yeah,
And usually, I mean, you'd be lucky to get away from a horde of them. I think it definitely like ramps up the intensity and the tension for sure. Yeah, I think that's kind of like what this franchise does really well. And same thing with, I think Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead's really good at doing that as well, where the zombies are terrifying for a different reason than they are in the original Dawn of the Dead.
yeah. There's like, for example, these zombies are dangerous. Like running into one, it can be the death of you. Look what happened to Cillian Murphy, and like I'm pretty sure it was at the gas station when he was with Mark and Selena, and then
Hmm.
he said like hello, and then this kid came out of nowhere and started attacking him, and it almost got him, but
Yeah.
he did stop them. Same with like sleeping, like during the night. He was sleeping, he got up, literally went to the kitchen. He didn't really make a lot of noise, but it
Hmm.
attracted one of them. They went in and then attracted the rest of them.
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of have that little bit of that hive mind. I mean, the opening of 28 weeks later is, pretty heart pumping for sure. Once they get in there, it's like, I mean, what the hell do you do? It's can get really overwhelming very quickly.
Yeah. It's just terrifying, man. There's not really else I can say about it. It's just terrifying. Like imagine a virus just outbreaks tomorrow in America and Canada. Imagine having to go up against the rage virus in real life. Oof.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even
I
just
don't think,
surviving 28 years.
yeah. Yeah, 28 minutes. Jeez. That's what I think sometimes with fast moving zombies. I'm like, there's like no hope, no hope for survival. It's just it's like a ticking time bomb.
Yeah. Even with like getting infected, there's like in different zombie movies like the original Dawn of the Dead or maybe like The Walking Dead, there might be a way you can save someone if they've been bitten, but nah, if you're exposed to the rage virus in 28 days, weeks, and years, you're just you can't really do anything about it. You're
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. I mean, what's his face in the first one just gets like a drop of blood like in his eye, and that's it.
Yeah, Frank, and then he just immediately turns into one of them after 20
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't take long.
Yeah, the exposure time, how dangerous and how obtainable it is. It's really, really scary.
Hmm.
And sadly, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, if one of your teammates that you're friends with gets blood in their eyes, blood in their mouth, literally
That's it.
blood anywhere on their body, well, actually, no, not necessarily. Really, if it gets inside of your body or they get bitten,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to kill them, even if it's like your mom or something. You can't do anything about it. You have to kill them because if
Yeah.
they turn into one of them, they're gonna bite you, get their blood on you, and you will become one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll
And
be
now it's
interesting to
like,
see how they play with that. I wonder if wonder if this kid in the new movie is going to be okay. We'll see. I would imagine they'd want to keep him around at least for the second half of the story. But sometimes you gotta, if you want to up the stakes for your adult characters, you have to have them suffer some sort of terrible loss.
yeah, I'm scared for these characters, man. Like if you compare it to Weeks and Days, Cillian Murphy got help from multiple people, like multiple people.
Yeah.
Same with Weeks later with like Jeremy Renner and stuff. He got a
Hmm.
lot of help in that one. But then in this one, it's just the two of them going onto this island with not a lot of materials. Like they don't
Yeah.
have guns; they only have bow and arrows.
Yeah. Which I'd imagine is just to put not have as much noise going on.
Yeah, although it's even though it's like less noise, less riskier. There's not a lot
Hmm.
of ammo you can have because you can only carry
Yeah.
like a certain amount of arrows. You can't carry like you can carry maybe like 20 or 30 of them. But for like
Yeah.
guns, you don't really have to shoot them that much to kill them.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
looking at some of the pictures. There's a shot of Aaron Taylor Johnson and the kid like running away from a few of them. The kid doesn't have any arrows with him. Aaron Taylor Johnson has one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be I'm curious to see how it all plays out for sure. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to this one.
It looks interesting, definitely. I think it's going to be the best one out of the three personally. It's been 20 years since no, it's been 18 years since Weeks. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look at Final Destination Bloodlines. We had to wait 14 years for that one, and it ended
Yeah,
up being either the best one or the second and third best of the franchise. So this one, it
yeah.
definitely has the potential to be the best one, especially because of how long it took to get
Mm-hmm.
this movie out and the fact Danny Boyle's back for this one as well.
Yeah. No, and I'm looking at is this so that this must be Ray Fiennes. He's like bald and all dirty, and there's like these bone pillars like all around him.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm not sure what that is. It might be like a ritual circle of something. I'm not quite
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to I really hope they expand the lore, you know, have a really especially if it's going to be kind of like part one of a two-part, you know, finale or at least, you know, I would imagine that these two that we get, maybe there'll be another big break after this. So hopefully the storyline is something that's rich and full and yeah, makes us care about what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely giving me like Mission Impossible and Across the Spider-Verse vibes. Like there was Dead Reckoning and then there was The Final Reckoning. There was
Mm-hmm.
Across and now we're getting Beyond. And then we have
Mm-hmm.
Years and now we're getting Years Part 2 apparently. So it's like maybe this one's going to be like building up to a new monster or something that gets possessed. Maybe we meet like the leader of the rage virus. They never really explain how the rage virus even exists. It's just there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Ray Fiennes, he plays a character, Dr. Kelson. So this is a guy that looks like, you know, obviously he's a doctor, but we're living in these conditions. I'm sort of like just from looking at the pictures of him, I'm like, I wonder if he's the leader of some kind of weird, creepy ass cult, you know?
Yeah, you never really
Um,
know what can happen, especially in a 28 later movie. Oof,
yeah.
there's so many possibilities for a
Hmm.
movie, especially like this one. There could be everyone gets killed. Maybe they stop the rage virus, which is most likely not going to happen. Maybe they find a way to like clear out this island and expand their fortress.
Yeah. Or like you
Yeah.
were, I mean, I think you had kind of mentioned it earlier, like some sort of way to try to control them um, would be another kind of little wrinkle to put in there, you know, with
Yeah.
the story and the explanation.
I mean, like this host, the priest, or I'm not sure what he is. I'm gonna call him a priest. He calls them out, and then they all break through the windows and start like bashing into the church and stuff. So maybe
Hmm.
he like found a way to control them, but he's like evil, so he only works for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
yeah.
just looking through some of the rest of the stuff on Rotten Tomatoes here. I wish they had some reviews, but I guess what? We're just 18 days away. I'm surprised that no one's seen this movie yet.
Ooh,
I'm
oh,
hoping,
that's not a good sign. Oof.
but I mean, it's just
Yeah,
18. Like, if we don't see something by what? So the 20th, if we don't see something by next week, then I would start being concerned. And I don't know. Every
yeah.
now and then I get to go to press screenings. I don't get to see every new movie like early. But I'm hoping that I can catch this one a little bit early and be able to review it early as well. Because
Yeah,
I was fortunate.
I watched Legends like Karate Kid Legends like last Monday. Yeah, Monday
Mm,
night last week.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit disappointed on that one. Not
Yeah.
not the greatest,
Yeah.
not the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, it just is what it is. I was fortunate enough to see, I got to see Bloodlines about a week early and then bring her back like almost 2 weeks early. So they were feeling really confident about bring her back, letting
Yeah.
people see it that early. Um, so yeah, hopefully we see some sort of word because it seems like everyone, at least the people that I know within like the horror YouTube community, like a lot of people are very excited for this for 28 years later. So hopefully we start seeing some sort of positive news, regarding the reception. But yeah, as of now on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm not seeing anything so far as a score goes or anything like that.
Yeah, because this even happened with like a lot of the bad movies. Like, if they know the movie's going to be bad, they don't want to like let people see it early. So then, if they do let people see it early and then they just end up hating it, they're obviously going to put reviews online, and that's going to strike a lot of controversy around the film, like
Hmm.
if they should see it or not.
Sure.
Like, I feel like now would be the best time to let people see the movie because that means they would be confident in their project and
Yeah.
confident in letting people see it. And they know it would be a good film. Like last year for Strangers Chapter 1, they literally had the premiere for the film like maybe 2 days before it released.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And
And
it
like
ended
in
up being a massive letdown.
Yeah, it's always a better sign if they let people review it early. That's their way of saying we're not worried about what people are going to say. So
Yeah.
whenever they like, even with that Fear Street Prom Queen movie, I don't think they lifted the embargo until like the Wednesday before the movie came out, which is not a good like. So you're allowing people to see it, but you won't even let them drop their reviews until like right before it comes out because you don't want it to spoil or you don't want it to dwindle those numbers, so yeah, of course, I'm right there with you. If they're feeling good about 28 years later, we are going to see some sort of reactions and some sort of press. Even if they have an embargo, they're going to allow people to talk about it a little bit and get some of those, especially some of the Rotten Tomatoes approved critics are going to be able to put their at least a written review out of the film, um, so yeah, I mean, man, you have Aaron Taylor Johnson, you've got Ray Fiennes, like those are some heavy hitters there. And yeah, I'm looking at the synopsis here. It does say when one group leaves the island on a mission into the dark heart of the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but other survivors as well. So it does look
Ooh.
like this is kind of veering into some of that sort of similar to like some of the Resident Evil, video game series.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so and I think that's another good way to expand it. You at some point you have to move on from just having fast zombies. There's got to be some other a bigger threat. That's the way these movies usually go. Is the threat gets bigger and bigger, and more difficult to
Yeah.
deal with.
Even depending on the reviews on the film, if there's like bad reviews on it, I'm still gonna see it. Like, there's some movies where even if I know it's gonna be bad, I'm
Yeah.
still gonna go see it. Like Until Dawn, went in there, no expectations at all. Ended up being a good film, surprisingly. Especially as an Until Dawn fan, I went out pleased.
Oh, cool.
Strangers Chapter 2, not looking forward to it. I have a little bit of expectations for it,
Yeah.
considering it's different from the chapter 1 that came out last year, in which it's been way too long. I'm not waiting until September 26th.
Yeah.
Sadly, I have to, but either way, if it looks bad, if it is bad, still gonna go see it. There's just some
Hmm.
movies where I have to watch it, even if I know it's gonna be a bad movie. Like, I could even say the same about Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. I knew it was gonna be bad, but I still saw it, and it ended up being terrible.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's even like a place for that. I don't even mind, if it's bad, as long as like, is it at least entertaining if it's not the best thing ever?
Yeah.
And not every like I'm a huge horror fan, but like kind of all over the spectrum. So I don't need every horror movie to be like similar. And I don't even need to be scared by horror movies because I very rarely am I ever like actually scared, but I want them to, make me feel something. And then sometimes I just want to watch something that's like a fun slasher. And then other times, I just watched Heretic for the first time the other night. And that's like a movie that
Oh yeah,
is a horror movie that makes you think. And then, you had mentioned Hard Eyes, which I think a lot of people were just sort of like, what is this garbage? And I was like, but that movie knows exactly what it is. Like, I had fun with
yeah.
Hard Eyes. Like, I don't
Hard
mind
Eyes
a
was so much
slasher
fun.
movie. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I think the killer reveal is like the weakest part of the movie, but all the
Yeah,
mixing like a Hallmark movie with a newer slasher film, like I had a lot of fun with that one. And plus, when it comes to Valentine's Day horror movies, the only one I really liked before Hard Eyes was the original My Bloody Valentine. I mean, the remake to My
absolutely.
Bloody Valentine is like okay, that remake's like fine, but I do not like that Valentine movie that came out, in like '01 or whenever that was. Like, didn't have fun with that one, but Hard Eyes, like, it got me. I was laughing when they wanted me to laugh, and I liked
Yeah,
the look of the killer. And when it comes to slashers, like, I don't need much else, and yeah, it's I when it comes to reviews and listening to what other people say, you got to take it with a grain of salt, and you have to understand also that with horror movies, most critics aren't very kind with horror movies. Now with this kind
ooh,
of movie, they might be a little bit different, if it is something that's like a known property or something that's like a little more highbrow. I mean, I don't know if I would call Sinners like a straight up horror movie, but it certainly has horror elements. And I would say the back half of the movie is, like a horror movie, but that
yeah,
one did really
definitely.
well with the critics. And so, I always like to see it for myself. You can't really judge it based on what people are saying, and it's all individual taste is such a nuanced thing. I mean, I'm like, you had mentioned Thanksgiving earlier. Like, Thanksgiving is probably my favorite original slasher since the original Scream. Like, as far as
Yeah,
brand new character that we've seen in a slasher, that one really did it for me. So, and I
especially
know some
since
people,
we never really get Thanksgiving horror movies like
yeah,
Valentine's Day. You could definitely make horror movies out of that one, especially since literally the whole point of horror movies is couples making out and
yeah,
getting killed. But
yeah,
then with like Thanksgiving, it was not what I was expecting. Like
yeah.
really
It was
with
a good
most
old
horror movies,
fashioned.
it's all on Halloween.
Sure, yeah, and it was like
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is just a good old fashioned like who done it revenge slasher. I mean, it reminds me of the original My Bloody Valentine or like The Prowler from 1981. Just those sort of. I mean, even like I guess you could say like Scream is sort of similar. I Know What You Did Last Summer has similar, but like I like that kind of movie and
Yeah.
love the look of John Carver. So sometimes, yeah, it's just you know you don't want anyone to rain on your parade. So I would say, like, I'm looking forward to this one, and yeah, the pushing forward of technology with these rigs they have with the shooting with the iPhones looks really cool. I'm very interested to see about these like mutations with the infected and the non-infected. I'm curious to know what exactly does that mean? Are we gonna have mutated non-infected that like the infected don't recognize? Like, are there gonna be people that can like hold the virus without showing the symptoms of the virus, and maybe they're the ones that can sort of like they can exist among the infected without being in danger, and maybe they
Yeah,
can control
that was
them from there.
interesting.
So
That would be interesting.
yeah, there's I'm curious to know how this one's going to play out, but I am very much looking. It's been a while since we've had like, mainstream zombie movies, and I'm curious to know what they do with this one to sort maybe this kicks off a whole new zombie movie boom.
Yeah. Especially since most of horror movies nowadays are just slashers. Actually, no, really only slashers. There's not a lot of supernatural movies coming out lately. Like really we have Black Phone 2 and The Conjuring Last Rites. Those are really the only like supernatural paranormal horror movies coming out this year. But then with slashers, we have like Until Dawn, which is like a mix of everything. We have
Mhm.
Hard Eyes, Five Nights at Freddy's, Megan, kind of. I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's
Yeah.
another thing. I really want to see a lot more holiday horror movies. Like these Sony horror movies releasing lately have been absolutely incredible. Thanksgiving, great. Hard Eyes, great. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm excited for that one. Like we have so many horror movies based off of holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas. Terrifier 3 was really good with the Christmas vibe of it. That's why I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Different from Terrifier 2.
Yeah, I think that's the
Uh,
best one of the bunch for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
July 4th with I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much you can do.
Well, and it seems like there's also just a lot like horror movies have gotten a bit more like highbrow lately. So I would imagine that what we're going to get with 28 years later is going to be some things we're familiar with from the franchise, of course. And there is going to be the excitement and the tension and the suspense and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like they are going into a direction that is, I wouldn't call it like elevated horror, but like that they're trying to bring, I don't know, to add some brains to it a little bit, you know, make it some, I mean, because obviously these movies are pretty mainstream as far as horror goes. So the idea is like, can we bring in a mainstream audience? Can we, you know, because these movies are only going to be successful if they can bring in people that aren't necessarily like you and me. You know, they need to bring in
Yeah.
people similar to what Final Destination's able to do. Like that's a movie, those are movies that are like you can be really casual about liking horror and still go and watch that movie. It's like a good fun like kind of date movie. I always liken the Final Destination series to like the A Nightmare on Elm Street series where it's more about the creative kills, and I think those are a little more, you know, I think those have a bit more of a broad appeal. And then I think something like 28 years later is going to have broad appeal because we have an Academy Award winning director coming back to the franchise and a couple big names. And they're definitely the only way they're going to make the money that they want to make is for it to appeal to people that you know, that maybe didn't see Terrifier 3, you know,
Yeah.
or didn't see Bring Her Back. You know, they want to bring in those people that like Final Destination, or the people that enjoyed Hard Eyes, the people that enjoyed like Abigail, like some of the people that are just kind of more in the middle of the road, you know.
Yeah, like that's why they keep releasing a lot of like sequels to old movies nowadays. Like
Hmm.
it's more just like really a lot of people like nowadays they're not going to be like, oh my, I've never seen Final Destination, like let's watch it. Usually if they're coming out with like a brand new movie like 28 years later, it will set up hype for a
Yeah.
lot of the newer people that think the movie looks interesting, so they go back to the first two films, watch them, and
Hmm.
then go to theaters for years later. Like I do know a few people that have never seen Final Destination Bloodlines, but they thought it looked interesting, so they binge watched all five of them, and then they went to see
Yep.
Bloodlines and thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that's the whole idea of like working within something that's a proven property, you know, pre-existing IP. Like a lot of movies that we get now are, you know, pre-existing IPs, and that's the way to. You've already got like a base built in. So yeah, this is I'm excited for this one, and it'll be interesting to see how it does. I'm always hopeful when it comes to these movies. I always want to like them. I don't ever want them to fail. Um,
yeah,
and this one I'm feeling a lot better about than even the way, because I'm a you know, I like all sorts of movies, but I feel like this one is looking like it'll be a film I'll probably enjoy more than something like Superman or Fantastic Four or even I Know What You Did Last Summer, um, which I think will probably be like an okay movie, but I feel like that series is kind of just like okay anyways, you know.
yeah.
Um so that's one. Yeah, this is, I would say, as far as like the summer horror movies, this is the one that I have the most faith in for sure.
Yeah, like I feel like this movie, it's definitely going to be a film I like because there's a lot of films out there that I've seen in theaters where I try to like it, but I can't really get my head over it to like it. And
Hmm.
I could say that about Karate Kid Legends and
Yeah.
Fear Street Prom Queen. Big fan of the trilogy. Went in trying to like it, didn't really like it. Tried to like it, never liked it. So it's more just in the bottom list of Fear Street. Karate
Yeah.
Kid Legends, I went into it with some expectations. It's interesting. We haven't gotten a Karate Kid movie in years,
Yeah.
and it just ended up not hitting the boxes. I wish something was going to happen, but I did not want the story to be surrounded around wrestling the entire time. No, boxing.
Oh yeah.
It was like a completely different side story. Like it built up all to be like this big karate movie of this kid moving to New York, getting trained by
Hmm.
Daniel LaRusso, again, ready to play in this big tournament. But most of the story is just the kid helping his crush's dad get back into boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a movie that didn't really spend a lot of time basking in like the moments. It was just there was it was everything was so quick and haphazard in that Karate Kid movie, unfortunately. But yeah, I think we're gonna get something different here. I think this movie, I think 28 years later is going to be a movie that's gonna be a bit more concentrated. Even though,
Yeah,
like, since we know so much about this world, it looks like it really is just going to center around a small handful of characters, which I really
yeah,
enjoy. I
yeah,
like seeing the characters grow, seeing a good character arc, and having the story being assisted by the fact that you're seeing the characters go through changes. Um, so yeah, I've got a good feeling on this one.
yeah. I like the route they're taking. Like, since as you said, being in this world for over 10,000 days, it's or no, being in this world for 21 years, being fans of the film for like 21 years, people have loved this film. They know what it's about. They know what the rage virus is. This
Hmm.
movie, going on higher stakes, trying to like build up the movie, expand on the virus, show us a whole bunch of different things that can happen, like a cult. That's new. I wasn't expecting there
Yeah,
to be a cult.
yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I mean, Rafe Fiennes is always such a compelling actor, so I'm really curious to see what's going on there. And so, yeah, I'm going to avoid any other ads or anything like that for this one. I'm just going to go into the movie and let it speak for itself. Yeah,
Yeah. And I better not go on TikTok and see anything related to the film. Happened with me with Final
yeah,
Destination Bloodlines and Until Dawn. Like I was scrolling
yeah.
through TikTok, came across a video, and then they didn't even put up a warning. They just showed Stephanie and Charlie getting killed. And I was like, well, that's
Mm,
ridiculous. I was hoping they were going to live. Until Dawn. Or, well, have you seen Until Dawn or no?
I haven't yet. No, I've never played the games, and I heard pretty lukewarm things about it, so I just didn't get around to seeing it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say what happens, but something does happen at the end of the film. And I found it on a TikTok, and I was like, well, come on, man. That's like some really cool stuff as an Until Dawn fan. And now it's
Yeah.
just completely ruined. So I won't be able to get that like theater experience. Same with Scream 6.
Hmm.
I was scrolling on YouTube, not even a warning at all. They just revealed the killers, and I was like, "Well, that's ridiculous. There's no movie theater experience with that." Thankfully, with like other stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's, I went into a completely unknown because I saw an early screening of it, so there wasn't really a lot of like spoilers for it
Hmm.
out yet. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You have to avoid Twitter as well. Like the
ooh,
weekend that
Twitter's
a movie
terrible.
comes out, they'll start spoiling everything like that weekend. So you'll see, and people will go see the movie on Thursday and start sharing stuff on Twitter even on Thursday. So you have to avoid like yeah, I remember when Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine came out. Like that stuff was even the studio by the next
Oh
Monday. The studio was sharing a bunch of the cameos, and I was like, "Well, this is kind of messed up." Like,
yeah,
like, can't even let people have a week to watch the movie, or
I
you're just
know,
gonna
it's
start.
just like usually people will just post it to get views, like Deadpool and
Oh yeah,
Wolverine.
yeah,
I saw that again at an early screening, so I was completely fine with that. Went into it completely unknown and like the 3D glasses and stuff. So like the beginning was great with like the title card and like the bones flying around and having like the names on everything.
yeah.
So I went into that movie completely unknown. Ended up being a blast. Sadly,
Hmm.
not going to have the same experience with it. It's not going to. I think it's going to be the worst one out of the three Deadpool movies upon rewatching it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to rewatch movies like No Way Home, like Deadpool and Wolverine, for the sake of me liking the film. Like there's
Yeah.
some movies where, yeah, I can rewatch this film. Five Nights at Freddy's. I rewatch it a lot, still love it because there's not really a lot of stuff that happens. Although
Hmm.
the point when Vanessa finds out that no, when Mike finds out that Vanessa is his daughter, wasn't seeing that one going to come out. I thought it was going to be Mike being his son, but it wasn't. So that was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
completely unknown for me. And
Hmm.
I still watch it and I still get chills on my arms from that.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
it's great.
It is. That's one thing I've learned is just once a trailer gets you, just go in, watch the movie, try to avoid the socials where people spoil stuff, and also try to see the movie early on so you
Yeah.
don't run into some sort of spoiler thing. Even a thumbnail on YouTube can maybe say a little bit more than you want it to say. But it's just the world we live in now, where people like you said, people want to get those clicks and they want to be the first one to get that news out there.
Yeah, and then get all the clout from it as well. Yeah,
Yep.
it's pretty sad. Would recommend seeing it on the day it comes out. I've done that for a lot of films like Strangers Chapter 1, Deadpool and Wolverine. Well, that was like a few days before. Same with FNAF. Scream
Hmm.
6, though, I watched it on a Sunday, so that was disappointing for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's not really a lot you can do when it comes to spoilers. Like, they're just out there. And considering
Yeah.
you're like into that type of content, it's gonna put that on your FYP, and there's really nothing you can do to avoid it.
Yep. Yep. Unfortunately.
Yeah. But we're at the 1 hour and 7 minute mark, and I think we talked as much as we could about the film. We got a lot of stuff in. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think we can end it off right here.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. This was cool, and yeah, I get just final thoughts. I hopefully I can see this one early. I do think it looks like it's poised to be. It could be the best in the out of the three we've gotten so far. So yeah, looking very much forward to it.
Yeah, I have a lot of hopes in that. That's me personally, but we'll just have to see what happens. And thank you everyone that were watching this. We didn't get a lot of views. More people watch it like after the podcast is done. Like we got like almost 100 views on the last one, which is more than I was expecting,
Sweet.
considering we're just starting it. But
Yeah.
thank you everyone who did join us, and thank you Davey for talking with me on this. It was a pleasure having you on.
Of course, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And yeah, thanks again to everyone that's watching. You can find me, just look up Davey Deathray. Deathray's one word. I'm on
yeah,
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of fun stuff. So if you like listening to people talk about movies and talk about horror and all that kind of stuff, you can certainly get that over there on the channel. And I will be covering this one when it comes out. So I've been doing out of theater reactions whenever I go see a movie. So that's a total like non-spoiler, just like my first, feelings about it. And then when I record my reviews, I always make sure that those reviews are non-spoiler as well. And then like if I really love something about a movie, I might take a deeper dive like later on. So yeah, really appreciate everyone for
yeah.
watching, and yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, thank you. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him, and he will be going live in around an hour ish, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, about an hour. Yeah, hell
yeah.
yeah.
I'll probably hop on there just to say hi, maybe even stay on there for a few. I'm probably
Sweet.
gonna have to film my Final Destination Bloodlines review after. I haven't done that yet. It's been like a week since I've watched it. No, 2 weeks actually.
Yeah, I did a full, like I did a non-spoiler review and then a spoiler review, but that's over. I'm working with this channel called the Horror Show channel. They've been
Yeah, I saw
around
that.
here for about, they've been doing stuff for about 10 years or so. So some of my reviews I do with Cecil over there because we go to the press screening. So there's a little bit of everything all over there, but I am thinking about doing like a ranking of the whole Final Destination franchise. So I'm curious to see if
Yeah,
anyone over on any of the people that follow me on my channel are interested in seeing that. So we may do that, but yeah, man, and you're not too far from 900 subs here. What, you're
yeah,
just
we're getting pretty close to that as well.
30, 32 subscribers away. So anybody that came over here by way of the post that I made on my YouTube channel, go ahead and throw Cruel ZV a sub, and let's see if we can get him to hit that 900 mark at the very least before 28 years later it comes out. And then, man,
Yeah, maybe.
then it's the big one. Then it's on to 1,000. That's the big one right there.
Yeah, that is the big one. We're getting closer to that one as well. Hey, maybe even in a month, if I keep posting more content, I could probably get up there really quickly. Birthday's on like the 5th, so I turned 15. Yeah. No,
The 5th of
like
this
July
month.
5th.
Oh, July
Yeah.
5th. All right,
Yeah.
man. Well, hell yeah. Oh, you're a youngin, so you're starting out at the right time. So,
Yeah.
by the very, every now and then you do, like I've noticed with sub counts for me, it's like it can be kind of up and down, but it's just, yeah, stay consistent. And then, by the very least, once we hit spooky season, that's where you can really ramp up your content.
Oh,
And you'll
definitely
find
for
that you
horror
can,
movies, especially. Yeah.
yeah. So even if that 900 to 1,000 takes a little bit longer, like you may be able to hit that like come Halloween. So that would be fun, something to
Yeah.
shoot for.
Like I do have a series plan where my mom for Christmas actually bought me like this scratch off movie poster. So I was thinking maybe for like a series like every single day for 100 days, because I'm pretty sure it's like 100 movies. Could
Mhm.
like watch a movie, rate it, boom, post it,
Yeah,
continue that series. I think that would be interesting. But yeah, all right.
hell
Thank you,
yeah,
everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Davey, for joining us. Check out
of
his
course.
channel as well. We'll be going live at 6:30 p.m. Pacific.
Hmm.
Yep. Everyone,
All right,
thank
y'all.
you for coming on.
Take care, guys.
See ya.